There have been some absolute bangers that have been made by the Ben 10 fans. They have been dropping black flashes all year, but today we cover some of the best ones, or at least the ones I like the most. So fans, get ready for some of the best from the Ben 10 fanverse. First, we start off with the Charnitrix's creator, who has created a brand new watch, or at least innovated on a watch that's already in the series, which is the Nitrix. We have two things. The first they break down, which is the user of the watch and the watch itself. So the user of the Charny Nitrix is Kai Green, which in this reality she is about 18 to 19 years old. You see, her search for ancient treasures took her to lots and lots of dangerous places, pretty much making her somewhat like the Indiana Jones of Ben 10. One of which led her to become another test subject for one of Dr. Psychobus's newest invention, which is the Nitrix. Now, of course, this is a collaboration project, similarly to how it is in the original Prime timeline, made with a schematic from Malware. It's made with a schematic from Ultra T, and they kind of picked Kai because she was a past love interest of Ben. So the Charny Nitrix in itself is actually one of the most dangerous devices in the entire universe, containing the DNA of the Charnitrix alien predators, or at least that's what it should do. But because of the flaws in the Charnitrix code, it actually infects the Nitrix itself. Hence, this current version of the Nitrix is a failed version. And so it transforms the wearers not into just like monstrous predators like what we're used to from Ben 10 Omniverse. No, it transforms them into the opposite version of the predator aliens. Instead of being fearsome, scary predators that are hunting down Charnitrix Ben, they're actually cowardly aliens. Fun fact though is that the code used for the Nitrix was extracted from Ultra T's emblem, which is still on her after she left the Omnitrix. Hopefully you guys remember that. I actually broke that down in the first Charnitrix video, and that's actually what ends up affecting the final product. But I like the way the design looks. It looks pretty cool. Give a quick rundown of two other major players besides Ultra T who are a part of the Charnitrix's creation. So we have Dr. Psychobus. He's not so well known for being one of the most brilliant minds in the galaxy, but for being an obsessed planetary collector. And his interests are a lot more tailored to collecting dwarf planets, since they're a lot easier to catch and keep alive. He created the Nitrix alongside Ultra T in order to get Ben Tennyson out of the way, and thus, add the Earth to his collection. Kyver, not to be confused with the hunter Kyber. Kyver is a rookie hunter. You see, she was hired to use the Nitrix to take down Ben Tennyson. She has a really short temper, and when a hunt doesn't go her way, it's probably best not to anger her too much, because she will come up with the most underhanded traps to hunt her prey. However, let's talk about some of the aliens that are in the Charny Nitrix playlist. First thing is the Phaluncian. It's definitely a planned Phaluncian transformation. Being the opposite, it is quite faithful and a bit naive. As lizard, yeah, the lizard's asthmatic, and it avoids exposing itself to situations that make it nervous. We have Crab Loser, very strong, but he's a literal idiot, so doesn't even realize what's going on around it. Small Worm, very small and pathetic. It gets scared when cornered. Oh my god, these aliens are so sad. Hypno Geek, play on hypnotic. It smells like onion. Shrek would love this alien. And it really likes ice bugs, but I'm guessing it just likes them likes them, but isn't predatory towards them in that way, I guess. Mucilagre. This is actually a play on the Crashhopper Predator. It actually agrees with everything its prey, it's quote unquote prey, does. The Restless Predator 4-ball Weevil, in the opposite form at least. He is very nervous and insecure. His fabrics are actually really weak. Virtudopus. This is the play on the Brainstorm Predator. He keeps himself very busy with many things instead of quote unquote hunting. Veganicious. This is supposed to be a Galvan predator. This alien has low self-esteem and secretly like to be made ridiculous. It has like an embarrassment fetish. That's kind of weird, man. Prisopid. This is supposed to actually be a Voxosaurian predator. It has a small amount of fabric, and it also doesn't control when it shoots its webs. Kind of reminds me of Webweaver. But overall, I like this concept of having the Nitrix. It takes an extra warped perspective, giving these aliens the opposite effect of what is supposed to be intended. So I wonder how this would actually end up interacting with the aliens that Ben summons. It would be quite interesting. So next up on the list is the Superior Charnitrix. Let's give you some brief notes on that. This was actually created by Supercham and designed by Viz or VlizzyVliz on Twitter. It says that, Ben gets this version of the jacket at the age of 20, And Grandpa Max in this AU is actually dead. He died in a quote-unquote incident which, it seems to be super mysterious about when Ben was 18 years old. Gwen actually disappeared when Ben was about 15. And, because of all of these chain events, Ben actually never met Kevin or even Julie. Ben now kind of drives the Rust Bucket as his main means of transportation. And similarly to the Charnitrix, some aliens will kind of have romantic feelings towards Ben. But not because of the watch, but rather because they genuinely fall in love with him for other reasons. That's quite interesting. So I guess they kind of like Ben's character. A possible main romance for Ben is actually Charmcaster. Yeah, so Charmcaster is actually really similar to how she is in the original series. Probably with even more trauma from her past though. Not sure exactly why, because they didn't really elaborate on this. However, it seems like she does have some sort of amalgamation fusion between herself and Heat Blast, hence the watch becoming the superior Charnitrix. So let's talk about superior Heat Blast. She has, all of Heat Blast's regular fire powers, can manipulate fire, and can make fire change shape, making it look like anything, transforming fire into different constructs, like a dragon, an arrow, etc. Probably stuff like what Pyro from X-Men can do. She can also make holograms of herself as well, all thanks to a combination of Charmcaster's powers and abilities with the Pyronite species. Okay, next alien up is actually Diamond Head. She takes her job as a superhero to protect others very seriously, and she was actually the third alien ever summoned by Ben. She doesn't actually like forearms very much because of her superhero attitude. We'll talk about forearms a little bit later. However, the other variation of this Diamond Head is Top Diamond. This version of Diamond Head does not pay attention to protecting people and is a lot more interested in protecting Ben and herself if there's any danger. It is very different from the original version of Diamond Head, and it can be very similar to Charmcaster like the other aliens. It seems to me firstly that this watch actually goes up in levels of power similar to the Trix, so that's quite interesting. The superior level of this Diamond Head is not shy at all. She can even be sarcastic at times. She doesn't get along well with Accelerate though, and they even get into fights sometimes, which is kind of crazy. Why wouldn't you like Accelerate? Accelerate's awesome. Some of the powers of Superior Diamond Head is that it can create golems made of diamond through the crystals it creates, and it can launch magical rays and improve them with the crystals that are created. Quite cool. Of course, there are actually a few more aliens like the Superior Charnitrix Laboan, the Superior Charnitrix Brainstorm, and of course Ultra T or Superior Charnitrix Upgrade and its dual forms. However, Super Charm hasn't given any more deeper explanations into these, but we can all assume that they have different levels of power and scale all the way into a magically infused superior version. So that's pretty cool. I like this. It kind of expands on a concept that comes from the Trix, and it definitely does make the Charnitrix concept a bit more interesting with the fact that the power is scale with magic instead of something like ultimate forms. So Trix the alien has actually updated a few things for the Charnitrix, and we can see where a few new aliens have kind of been released. Firstly is Atomics. Atomics actually has a human form. She's a girl that's full of energy. Her name is Cheryl and she's influenced by Sailor Moon. She's obsessed with the show and dedicated to, studying, and also tries to find every excuse to wear her Sailor Moon looking uniform, even though she has different types of uniforms. Cheryl transforms into Atomics to help Ben and the other girls fight evil. Unlike Dragon Ball Z, she has powers and, named attacks, so, she's gonna do the whole hamna 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 thing. Pretty sure everyone loves that. Next is Bullfrog. Her human form name is Barbara, and she is actually known as Agent B. She's a spy by day, very fearless and self-confident. Atea is not happy with the presence of Barbara, especially with the fact that her bullfrog appearance is a lot more of a peak version of the incursion species. She also helps Ben to fight crime, but of course with use of her incognito talents. Peskydusk, also known as Ikaru, has magical powers. Kind of fits into the archetype of anime characters that are kind of gender ambiguous. The fact that it's a gender ambiguous alien, it kind of goes against the grain of saying that the Charnitrix does create aliens that are, compatible for reproduction. But I believe that Azimuth actually changed some things on the watch because of what Ben has actually been doing, hero work and stuff. Hence, they are no longer just for specifically reproduction, but the watch actually creates individuals. Firstly, I'd like to say I love the addition of the human form. I like these characters. I like the dynamic between their human forms and their alien forms. Finally is Gravitak, also known as Hannah. She's actually a reporter and very athletic. She's in really good shape and always seeks to be the center of attention with her high levels of charisma and energy. In her free time, Hannah goes to the gym, and it's obvious that she does because she's probably a muscle mommy. Hannah does work alongside Will Harang, who is, the #1 Benton hater in universe for the show, but because she clearly supports the mysterious alien superheroines, it kinda doesn't really take on to her too much. What it does seem to me is that this newer or updated version of the Charnitrix has these aliens not so closely bound to Ben. They seem to be living, breathing, regular people going about their day, but fueled by either Charnitrix power or something of the sort. Anywhere you could clarify on that, Trix, please do let us know. Also, there's actually been a new update in the Charnitrix comic. Chapter 2, I believe, has actually been out, so we'll get a full video on that within the coming weeks. So we're on to Matthew Bits. There are a few new things that we can say that we can consider as updates from Matthew, which are an addition of 2 new aliens to the playlist, which is, regular Cannonball and a crab-like alien. I'm not sure of the name, but I can probably guess that it has water-like powers or something of the sort. It's giving Brainstorm vibes, but also not really. Not sure what kind of cryptid fusion it actually is. And he actually has a design for his own version of Kevin 11, but I wait to see what kind of things that this Kevin is actually capable of. Onto a section about fun animations. Firstly, we have to switch to Charnitrix transformations that we've seen going around the place, created by the idiot animator. Now, I actually really like these as they give a different take on the classic transformations, giving men a new, vile way of becoming, these Charnitrix aliens is quite an interesting thing. And with the fact that it so closely resembles the classic transformations, not as polished, but close enough, is quite cool. So I really like that, because classic transformations feel like they are a lot more detailed than the Alien Force transformations. I'm not a big person in the animation section of Benton fan animations is Baqash Animations. He does a lot of really cool stuff as it regards to Ben 10 versus Ben 10 Reboot, and even Ben Classic and Ben Reboot versus Kevin Classic and Kevin Rebooted. He does some really interesting animations. The fight choreography is beautiful, the voice work is beautiful, the alien models are gorgeous. I can see why his upload schedule is probably so infrequent. Sometimes he does memes as well, so it kind of is a huge part of the Ben 10 sphere, which is so interesting. 5YL. Now, this is actually created by the Ink Tank, a series that's been running since before I even made this channel. It's been quite fun watching the motion comic so far, and to see how much detail and effort actually goes into creating something like 5YL. The voice work and the music is actually exquisite, and seeing Ben interact with a character like Danny Phantom is even more interesting. A thing that does stand out to me the most though are the aliens that they create as well. Some people are actually saying that these are actually just commissioned aliens that made it into the comic, or maybe original aliens from the Ink Tank gang. Who knows? But I personally really like this, and you guys should also definitely go and check this out. However, is there any fan created property that I actually missed from this video? Feel free to comment them down below so that I can cover them in another one. And if you wanted to learn even more things about Ben 10 or Ben 10 fan content, click any of these videos here.